Welcome to That's Entertainment with No, Not Them. My name is Christopher Brown, and I am joined, as always, with my co host of the most, Mr. Mike Nichols Pate. Now, today's show, we're going to be looking back on the last 12 months in the entertainment industry, the highs, the lows, and of course, as always, the banter that comes with it from Chris Brown because he just does not know how to talk about the entertainment industry as only the person who is not the person you're thinking of only can. How are you, Michael?
I'm great. As you can see, I finally have my office back. Um, so it has been great. It's been fantastic. I've been able to move back into my space and set up and feel like a person again.
So you're no longer the boy under the stairwells of your house like Harry
No, I'm
Potter in
not.
the HBO Max series. Are you excited about your new office?
I am. It's great. Though now I spend whenever I have a free moment at work, because I'm now 100% work from home, I'm like, I look around and I go, where can I move books? Can I do this? What about that? What should I get here? Which now it's just turning into Extreme Home Makeover, the gay edition. As every day I'm like, how can I like add some spice to this area?
Well, let's talk about the spice that was 2025 and let's talk about the highs and lows was the entertainment industry. Looking back on the last 12 months, Michael, was the high points in the entertainment industry, if any?
I definitely think that some of the films this year specifically, I mean, I guess they were last year's films, but the movies for the Oscars that I myself watched this year as part of the Oscars that happened, I enjoyed all of them. I also been finding a lot of the movies that have been coming out, I've been enjoying a lot. I don't know about you, but I've been going to the theaters more to see things. There's a lot more that I'm feeling like I have to be there. I want to see it on the big screen. The Conjuring was fantastic, the new one that just came out. Just a lot of, I don't know if it's like a culture shift, but I'm also seeing that there's a lot more people going to the cinemas. There was the big craze with the Minecraft movie. The Wicked movie has been pulling in crowds. It's just been, we might be seeing a revival of the movie theater.
You
I don't
say
know how you
that
feel.
you say that on the cusp of the biggest announcement in the entertainment industry that happened earlier in, I think at the beginning, end of November, beginning of December, which was the potential purchase of Warner Brothers by Netflix. And basically, all of Hollywood is basically disagreeing with that last statement that you just said by saying that this new movement will be the end of the entertainment industry and the end of Hollywood as we know it. We are seeing more and more studios, more and more unions, whether they be the SAG actor or even the Writers Guild of America, come out and say, no, we got to stop this because this is going to change how Hollywood is sort of looked at and how it sort of releases into the theaters. Now, I think this is probably the biggest news story of the year because I think this is going to dramatically change how we look at the entertainment industry going forward, potentially with the purchase of Warner Brothers by Netflix or the quote unquote hostile takeover from Paramount Skydance, wherever that is. But I want to sort of dive into what you just talked because I would disagree with you. Because
Okay.
I don't go to the movies that often, so therefore I can't agree or disagree with the sense of people going. But when I talk to friends, when I talk to people across Canada, I don't get the sense that people are like, "Oh, I'm going to go into the movie theaters." Why do you think, when it could be just a cultural thing between America and Canada, but why do you think more and more people are going back to the theater and going to experience theater, even though you and I both will agree that it costs basically an arm and a leg and your firstborn child to go see a movie in 2025.
Oh, absolutely. I just went and saw Merrily We Roll Along, the pro shot, and it was the $40 for tickets, and then I wanted some food. My husband and I wanted a drink. It was like we spent like $100 at the movie theater. Granted, did we need the drink and the soda? And did I need the mozzarella sticks? No, nobody needs mozzarella sticks. They just called to me. I needed them, but I did not need them. It, I think I don't know if it's just maybe like a where I'm living situation or because I'm connected with folks in LA where the movies are being made, if it's just a bigger thing there or here. But I'm seeing more people excited about it. Like there's movies that I want to see on the big screen. There's a lot of the special event stuff like Merrily We Roll Along, the pro shop was only in theaters and only at weird times. Like I had to go see it at 4 p.m. So it was just like took my work phone, I hopped in the car and said, all right, we're going and we're going to see it at 4 p.m. I think that I, I don't know. I think I don't necessarily see this as the end of movie theaters. You know, a
But
lot
are
of the
you
bigger
hearing it from
box
the people that
office.
you are you hearing the concerns that I raised in my statement about how this merger could change the way that Hollywood is perceived from the people that you know in LA?
I haven't. I've not heard anything about folks worried about it. I mean, I definitely think that there's a big push for streaming, but also like you can't, there's a different, some movies are made for the big screen. Folks that went and saw Oppenheimer in cinemas felt that it was made for a large screen. A lot of these superhero films, a lot of the action films, they're made for a bigger screen. I think with things like the Oscars moving in such an indie direction, those aren't made for the big screen. You can watch those at home quite comfortably. But like Nosferatu, seeing it on the large screen and like being in a theater while I'm experiencing that, you can't. I mean, it's totally different experience. You have the surround sound, you're in the dark, folks have shut their phone off. And I think that's also part of it is there still is that I'm in a movie theater. I should not be on my cell phone. So people are focused more on what they're watching. So I know a lot of folks that feel this is the only way I can sit through a movie and actually focus on it is by putting myself into a cinema. And I don't necessarily disagree as someone who's got two phones right next to him right now, one for work and one for personal. Like it's a great way to say I'm disconnecting from my phones. That's why I like the theater so much, which is also in a state of who knows what's happening. Um, I just think that folks are very worried and anxious over, I have X amount of coins to spend for fun. Do I want to go to the theater? Do I want to go to the cinema? How do I want to use that? And it's turning into a lot of with like this fast fashion and Temu and TikTok shop. Like I'm using my money by buying a bunch of little things and then going, I don't have money for the theater because I bought 800 Labubus. I don't know if
Wow.
that made any sense or if I just went on some wild random
You
tangent,
you
but hey,
you
here we are.
you had me right up until you said Labubu, and then I went, okay, now you've lost me, and you basically
But
lost
Labubu was the thing of the year.
our demographic of 45 to 65-year-olds who are watching this right now, going, what's a Labubu? So please explain, because this was a
Happily.
cultural change phenomenon in 2025. Because in 2025, I can't imagine myself ever uttering the words Labubu, but here we are in 2025 in December saying Labubu. So what the heck is a Labubu, Michael?
So there was this store that came out of Asia, I believe Korea, called Pop Mart. And they created this bag charm of this little monster guy, and it's just a mystery box. So you get the box, you don't know which one you're going to get. There's 6 to 8 to, if they do little figurines that have like 12, 16, they now have a whole conglomerate of you get this box, you don't know what's in it. You rip it up, you pull it out, and you might get one of the like 6 to 12 mainline ones, or there's like the 1 in 120th chance that you'll get the secret one. So everybody went crazy on the internet as folks started opening these. My husband discovered this of all people, not me. My husband found it, and he got invested in this journey. And it kind of reached
Whoa,
its
whoa, whoa, hold
zenith.
up. Whoa. We need to ask the $1 million question here. How much has your husband spent on Labubu in 2025?
Labubu
Because
specifically.
because these things are not cheap. They are expensive from what I hear.
So yes and no. If you can get them on Pop Mart, good luck. If you can get them, however, they're $20 a
But
box. You can
on
spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars getting the same one, but they also have now released an option where you can buy the whole set. You might get the secret, you might not, but you can buy the whole set because when they ship them and they wrap them, each box contains a different one of each. So you can buy a wrapped sealed box, and we've done that for not through Pop Mart because Pop Mart blew up. A lot of the other companies like Miniso created their own line of bag charms because they're just little keychains and a cute little guy, and he clips onto your bag. We have the entirety of the Winnie the Pooh where he's dressed up as his friends in the Hundred Acre Woods. Super cute. That was maybe like $120 for the whole box, and there was like 16 in there. And then we got this one called the Upset Duck. I think that is Pop Mart. There's only six of those. That was, I think, like 90 bucks. And then we got two knockoff Labubus because there are, in fact, knockoff of all of these. And we bought them. We went to Pride. We saw somebody had boxes and we went, ooh, let's get them. They're Labubu. They're hard to get. They were 25 bucks a piece. Fantastic. So we bought two, and then I bought two for my brother's now ex-girlfriend. And she told us as she's opening them, she goes, you know, you bought me fake ones, right? And I went, no, what do you mean fake ones? They're little boo-boos. What do you mean fake ones? And she went through and she educated me on how to tell the difference between a real Labubu and a fake Labubu. And if I'm being quite honest, I don't like them as much as the other bag charms that exist in the universe. So I'm like, all right, I have one. It's fake. Jonathan has one. It's fake. But we have them to say that we got to invest in the craze. His name's Kevin. I named him Kevin. I don't know why. I was just feeling Kevin when he came out. I was like, "Hello, it's Kevin."
Everyone is picturing Jonah Hill right now when you say Kevin. Let's talk about Kevin for
Not
a
Kevin
second.
McAllister?
No, I'm talking. Okay, well, yeah, potentially, but let's talk about Kevin, the movie. So that's why I'm saying let's talk about Kevin. So anyway, I digest. But two things just on that statement. A, I like the fact that you just casually named, we basically told that your brother broke up this year. So sorry to hear about your loss, brother, Michael's brother. Second thing, you just casually talked about how you're okay with knockoff cheap shit. So good for you. Congratulations. So for those who are watching,
You're welcome.
scored two. A, sorry for your loss. B, hopefully your brother's doing well. C, I'm not sure how the ex-girlfriend is right now, but screw you. It was a present. So what if it's knockoff? There's my rant
Yeah,
there.
she was
Um,
real mad over it. And I was like, girl, I don't know how to help you. I just, they look cute. Sorry, girl. And she got a knockoff of the fake. So I'm like, girl, be happy.
what? There's a knockoff of the knockoff now?
No, sorry, the knockoff of the secret. So she got the like super rare one too that was the knockoff. And I'm like, girl, calm down. I'm in rare form today. I'm sorry, y'all.
You certainly sound like it. I just can't wait to learn what else happened to your family this year in 2025 as we casually go on. Congratulations on explaining to the world of Canada that your brother broke up in 2025. So good job. So I want to turn, if you don't mind, to one of the big stories that happened in 2025. And I think it's the shifting demographic and the shifting landscape of the media landscape in America and in some sense Canada as well. And I think it all comes down to one man. And I know we don't often talk about politics on this show, but I think we have to for this story. Because in 2025, we saw the biggest shift in sort of sucking up to the president of the United States than we have in the last few years or in under any president
Yeah.
beforehand, even under the last Trump presidency from 2016 to 2020. How has that changed the media landscape in the States? Because I can tell you in Canada, we're trying to insulate ourselves from it, but what happens in the States usually happens in Canada a few months later. So, from someone who has seen it on the ground and seen the realities play out, how has that media landscape changed into what it is in December of 2025?
It's very safe. We're not taking risks. We're not being super artistic, not with fashion, not with a lot of the music feels very safe. Like it's a little more conservative in dress, it's conservative in appearance, it's conservative in packaging. A lot of the movies that are coming out aren't trying to be super artistic. We're not getting the three billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri. We're not getting, a comedy like I, Tanya. We're getting things that are going to appeal more to money is tight, money is safe. How can we do safe things? We're seeing a lot of revivals come out, even in television, with Welcome to Derry. We're seeing the It franchise rehashed because that was super popular and it made money. The Percy Jackson TV series has now come out. Like we're seeing a lot of like adaptations, even on stage. It's a lot of adaptations. I was just in New York last week, and out of all of the Broadway shows, out of the new musicals coming to Broadway this year, there's four of them. Two Strangers Carry a Cake, which is completely original. The Lost Boys musical, which is an adaptation of the 80s film The Lost Boys. The Queen of Versailles, which is the adaptation of the documentary of Jackie Siegel.
which just
And
closed
then
for those who don't know.
yeah, it's closing. It was closing, and then they pushed the close up to, it was supposed to be January 4th. It's now been pushed to the 21st because it's just not selling well. Um, and then there is a fourth new musical coming that I can't even tell you what it is right now. It's another adaptation. Um, from what I've been informed, uh, I'm gonna remember it at like 5 a.m. this morning or tomorrow morning and be like, oh yeah, that's the one. But it's just a lot of like revivals. Like Mamma Mia is back on Broadway. Beetlejuice is back on Broadway. Phantom of the Opera is back on off Broadway, but it's thriving. Like there's not a lot of risk taking that's happening. We had to seek out a lot of the risk taking shows this time around, and even the movie franchises are kind of it's franchises.
Can I challenge you a little bit on that Broadway
You sure
statement?
can.
Because since doing this show all year, I have read more about Broadway than I care to admit. But here we are in 20 at the end of 2025. And I've read and listened to more interviews with Anna Wintour in the last few weeks than I ever care to admit as well. So first I want to talk about Broadway, then I want to talk about fashion industry in 2025.
Sure.
The article that I was reading was about the show, and I forget the name of the guy who did it, Cole something. He did
Escola.
Escola. Yeah, they won the best
Yeah.
actor Tony this year in September for the portrayal of Mary Todd Lincoln in Oh Mary. And in the article, and I forget what outlet it was. It might have been just a blog, or I don't know, so don't quote me on the exact where it came from. But in the article, the writer, the journalist, basically openly says that more and more musicals and more Broadway shows are turning to stunt casting because then we're going to continuously see people come in and see the show. If we have a project that works right now, we got to keep it going with that quote unquote stunt casting. When Cole, insert last name here that I can't remember, and I'm probably not going to be able to remember the entire interview or the entire show. When Cole left, people thought, okay, the stunt casting that they're going to bring in is going to be one, and then we're going to be done, and then it's just going to be over with. But more and more actresses and even actors are wanting to participate in the show because it has become this sort of Broadway phenomenon where people are like, oh, well, this person's on the show now, so let's go and see it. We might have seen it beforehand, but let's go see it again because there might be a different take. And in this case, the entire cast kind of is a stunt cast as well because they're always changing out the main actors, whether it be Mary Todd Lincoln or even Lincoln himself or some of the main characters that are around the two main characters. And
Absolutely.
the person who was writing this said this kind of started, and it wasn't Oh Mary that kind of like blew this sort of idea up. The idea kind of started with Chicago, and now more and more musicals and even Broadway shows, dramas, are seeing what Chicago did and utilizing it for themselves because when you bring someone in, and we've talked about it on this show where stunt casting can go wrong, but we do see sort of a rise where people are saying, okay, let's bring in those stunt casts and we can run for another 3, 4 months and we don't have to change anything. We just have to rehearse with the new person who's coming in. So I want to get your thoughts on that. And do you think that that is going to sort of be the quote unquote norm of 2026 as we try to navigate this new world that we live in with Donald Trump as president and the rise of being safe, as you say?
Yeah, that in its of itself is indicative of safety. I mean, Oh Mary is one of those that like it should not have worked. It
Yeah.
really should not have. It is inherently very, very much created by gay people for gay people and like takes that lens of what is comedy that's going to be appealing towards that demographic. And the fact that it is such a phenomenon and that it's bringing in a lot of actors, it's almost like the little passion project that could. It was put on Broadway as a limited 12-week run that was supposed to end in October of 2024. Cut to, we are open-ended. And now officially, they're just bringing people in and out. They just announced a a new casting that's coming out after Jinx Monsoon returns. It's just this show people are really excited about. Chicago is a great example of somewhere that's done it, but with Chicago, it's been doing it forever. I mean, people aren't going into it's a lot of like Whitney Levitt is the latest that's coming in. She just was on Dancing with the Stars. It's a lot of like the housewives want to give it a try and we'll bring in some money and we'll keep it going. And also the Ambassador Theater, it's a funky shape. So you can only have something like Chicago there. So nobody's trying to kick them out because I mean, their seating is like 65% capacity every week of what they could be
But
seating. It's
but
not,
on the flip side, it all comes down to money
yeah.
for me. It all comes down to the return on
Oh, of
investment,
course.
right? Because when you bring in these stunt cast, and even if it is someone like a housewife or something, you don't have to pay them like a traditional Broadway star. You're not giving them the full credit that they do. You're usually using them as that sort of attraction. So you find someone like, because if I'm not mistaken, there was a Alex Newell was just on in
Yes.
Chicago as well. So the Glee fame people, the Glee people will come and see that because it's like, hey, the Shuck people will come see it. But like, hey, we saw Alex and Shuck, so maybe she'll do well in Chicago. So let's see this. I know Jinx Monsoon did it as well. So when you do this stunt casting, you're bringing in people who may not have seen it in 10, 15 years or even never seen it and say, oh, it's opening up a brand new story. When Jane Krakowski, if I'm pronouncing her last name right, did Oh Mary, I saw a lot of people talking about let's go see Jane do Mary Todd Lincoln's rendition because
Yeah.
for those who don't know, Oh Mary was written about Mary Todd Lincoln, but the main character who plays Mary Todd Lincoln is a man in drag, but non-binary. If I'm getting that right, I'm not sure of Cole's sexual orientation, so I apologize right
So
now.
Cole is non-binary.
No,
Cole does go
okay.
by they, them.
So they used for the first few stunt casts, it was always men that they would bring in, or non-binary people or drag stars to do the show. And now they're reaching out to more female presenting actresses who are in that role as well. So it is this sort of unique story where people can bring in their fans to go see a show.
But on the flip side, Cabaret tried to do the same thing and failed. They could not get people to sign on. They could not get. It's one of those. It's a double-edged sword because like it, it's what is going to sell and what's going to work. And right now, there's a lot of a feeling of we want to be safe. So we're seeing a lot more adaptations. We're seeing a lot more of like stunt casting of revivals. So I'm sure we're going to see more of things like Mamma Mia that are going to come back. We're not going to see as much taking risks, unfortunately. And that's where everything kind of is at. We're not taking risks. We're not doing an artistic musical necessarily about,
Like chess.
this listen. I
Are you surprised that I was able to pull that out very quickly and you were able to respond to
no,
that?
I'm not surprised at all. Chess, I have Chess is getting terrible reviews. If Leah Michelle and Aaron Tveit were not in it right now, it would not have even been brought to Broadway. It has an issue. The script isn't great. The music's fantastic. ABBA, they wrote the life out of that music. It's incredible music. The script, it's 3 hours a musical about two people playing chess engaged in a love triangle, fighting over Leah Michelle.
So basically, Glee.
Correct. Like we already saw this. We just saw her do Glee in Funny Girl when she replaced Beanie. Like she's just doing Glee. No offense to Miss Michelle. Like you know what? Pop off, Queen. Do your thing, Mama. But like, it's not. It's also if this was the time to do it, that's the cast. That's the group. It's selling me, and people aren't saying I want to go see Chess. It's I want to go see Leah Michelle. Two Strangers Carrying a Cake was this really profound, really incredible musical, probably one of the best new musicals on Broadway right now. And it's probably not going to get the praise it should. And then I also saw Bo off Broadway, which was this beautiful story uh, set immersively in like a Nashville distillery bar about a gay man coming out and like his grandfather's struggle with his own sexuality. And like it was this beautiful, heart-wrenching story, not going to transfer. It won't make money because people want to see things. They have a little bit of money and they want to see something they know and they want to see something they like. And a show with nobody stunt casted that's not necessarily confetti and rainbows. Mm,
Okay,
it's
so
safe. We're in a safe world right now.
I wanted to talk about the one show that was canceled and then was overly moved up canceled, but it's the Queen of what is it?
Versailles.
Versailles. So, for those who don't know, this is the show where Kristen Chenoweth, who is of Wicked fame, she played Glinda in the original Broadway show Wicked. She has gone on to do many other things. She was on quote unquote Glee, so she is well known, and she is, I would say, and I say this just as an outside perspective, and I know Michael's going to have some qualms about what I'm about to say. She's kind of Broadway royalty because she is well known and people know
Correct.
her because of her Broadway performances. She has done everything, and I believe she's won one Tony. Correct me if I'm wrong here.
Yes, for Your Good Man, Charlie Brown.
Yes, when she played Sally. That is correct.
Yep.
So, what happened here? Because with the rise of Wicked for Good, I thought this would have been a slam dunk. People had said, "Oh, it's Kristen Chenoweth. I want to go see it." Now, I don't know the full story, so you might be able to fill it in a little bit. I know this is our Broadway segment of our show, so let's dive in a little bit harder. But what happened here? What actually happened on this show? Because I can't make heads and tails out of this because it sounds like it would have been the perfect show to bring back, but it seems like no one wanted to see it. Was it just too far fetched for people?
So it started in Boston, not this past summer, but summer of 24. Terrible reviews. The music wasn't great, the script wasn't great, the acting wasn't great. So it was a lot of like, this isn't working. And rather than go back to the drawing board, which is what you do when you go to like Boston or La Jolla or any of these other like Paper Mill, any of these other like regional theaters where they want to test new works, you take the feedback and you go, okay, how can we improve? What are people saying? They changed nothing. Um, and the reason that this show changed nothing is because the woman who it's about, she's the lead producer on the show and she doesn't want to change anything. She doesn't want to paint herself in a bad light. She doesn't want to paint herself as because the story of this, and there is a documentary, I believe it's on Netflix. It's this woman and her husband wanted to build essentially the like the Versailles Palace in France, in Florida. They started construction on this like $100 million home in 2007. Suddenly, 2008 goes the housing crisis or goes the housing bubble. And she is now destitute. And so this documentary was supposed to be, which started out as we're going to chronicle me building this massive house in a show of wealth, did not work. And so they created this musical. She's like, you know what? Maybe this will work as a musical. It's opulent, it's grand, and we'll have Kristen Chenoweth. The music's not great. I've heard some of the songs. I don't like them. I like Stephen Schwartz. He wrote Wicked. He wrote the music for this. Not great. She refused to change anything. And then the little bit of folks who were like, all right, maybe I'll give it a chance. Kristen Chenoweth hopped up on TikTok and said, right after Charlie Kirk's assassination, and essentially said, I feel for him. Everything he said was so kind. And majority of her fan base are
People like
folks that
Charlie
Charlie
Kirk.
Kirk has actively said don't deserve rights and would be better off dead themselves. So folks took great issue with that. And she never really apologized for it. And if there's one thing Broadway folks do is they will turn on you on a dime if they feel slighted. And they did. So
Well,
the little bit of
maybe she's the
traction,
next Patty LaPone.
maybe. I mean, I it
Because I
just
think
also
every
wasn't a great project.
yeah. The other project, because I want to turn to the big story that is happening here, and that is going to be what's going on in 2026, and it just happened a few
Yeah,
weeks ago. But there is one story I want to talk about last, and it's about Broadway, but it's not truly Broadway, it's off Broadway. And when I saw
love.
this, I was shocked, to be honest, that it had taken this long to get this person on Broadway or quote unquote off Broadway, which I can imagine people will be coming out in droves to see them. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Are you talking about Kevin McHale in Spelling Bee?
No. I'm talking about Bianca Del Rio making her Broadway debut In the off-Broadway show, and that's why I had to look it up because I wasn't 100% sure.
Tartuffe.
Tartuffe. Okay. First off, can we just assume that this is going to be moving to Broadway because everyone will want to go see Bianca Del Rio because people know her, love her, and like sell out her shows every time that she goes on tour? Or is this a show that you're watching and going, okay, let's see how the opening reviews go?
Let's see how it does. It's
Do
got
you
a great
know?
cast.
Do
Matt
you know?
Broderick's in it.
Do you know what the theme of like what is the synopsis if you could, if you don't mind? Do you know it offhand?
I don't know it offhand. We actually it was on our list to see when we went. We were interested. We were going to try and make it. It just didn't happen. There was 40 shows we wanted to see and 11, 10 and a half slots. The half being the Rockettes, which have 45 performances a day, so you can see them at any point. I'd never seen them before. I saw them. So
The inflection at the end there makes me think that you were not impressed by the Rockets in New York City this year.
listen, they're such great dancers. I fought for my life to stay awake because dance shows, I just, they don't appeal to me, which is why even when we've had musicals or things on stage that are more dance heavy, I tend to not go towards those just because I know myself and I know where my interests is gonna, and my ability to focus is gonna fight. I was fighting for my life. So it was on the list, but it's one of those shows. It was running also at the same time as Andre de Shields was doing a production of Tartuffe. So there was like two Tartuffes happening at the same time.
Okay.
I think it's going to live off Broadway. There's a lot of stuff now that as we're getting into this world, off Broadway is just more financially beneficial. Like you can do more with it. There's not this expectation of having $35 million spent on a show. You can spend, just a million, just being a wild term, but like you don't have to spend 25, 35 million like Queen of Versailles did, which it's not going to make back. Like, so you're seeing a lot of now interesting work that is written specifically for smaller audiences. Like Spelling Bee, it's 9 people on stage, 6 kids, 3 adult kids, uh, 3 adults, and like they're doing a spelling bee. And it's one of the funniest shows you're gonna see. I would recommend it. It's off Broadway. And it's packing the house. It's getting laughs. The celebrities are all going to see it. Dan Radcliffe was on stage. He spelled theater wrong. We had a good laugh at that. They were looking for the British spelling, not the American spelling, and he did the American spelling. And they got him
Okay.
out on that.
Well, of course they would. So I just quickly looked up the Tartuffe synopsis.
Yeah.
Orgon, the head of a prosperous family, has taken in and been taken in by Tartuffe, a man who purports to be holy but is really a fraud. Orgon and his mother are the only ones to have fallen under the trickster's spell. The rest of the relatives, including his wife and brother-in-law, see right through Tartuffe. So that is the synopsis. So I can
Yeah.
imagine Matthew Broderick is going to play the father because he is that of that age, and we'll go from there. Well,
Oh,
let's
he's
talk.
Tartuffe.
Oh, is he Tartuffe? I wonder what Bianca Del Rio is going to play. Is he going to play Orgon? Gee.
She's Madam something or other. I don't know it up as much off the top of my head because once we said we're not getting to it, I threw the knowledge I had of it out of my brain because it just was like,
Sounds like you are really invested in the Tartuffe off Broadway
I
show.
just, I don't think it's going to make it very far. I think a lot of stuff right now, in order to go to Broadway, they're like, are we going to have a surefire hit? And many times, the Broadway theaters that they want to go into that would be perfect are the smaller theaters. And those are the ones that are booked up probably for the next 4 years.
So let's turn to the big news story, and that is this is the official start of the 2026 award season. Now, in March, we are going to be doing our traditional annual Oscar celebration palooza, who's going to win, who's going to lose. And traditionally, it's me losing. But last year, I think I came out on top, or we had tied. I don't
We
remember
tie.
exactly. We tied. So maybe this year
We
is my
tied.
year for me. Now, the 83rd annual Golden Globe Awards, which is the traditional kickoff to the awards show season, released the nominees. And I'm just going to quickly, because I'm just going to do Best Picture, Best Musical and Comedy, and Best Animated because there's a lot to digest. But for Best Motion Picture Drama, and this kind of gives you where the Academy Award is going to probably be in a few weeks' time, in the middle of January when they announce their nominees. But the nominees for Best Picture, Motion Picture Drama for the Golden Globes is Frankenstein, Hamnet, It Was Just an Accident, The Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, and Sinners. For Best Motion Picture, Music, or Comedy, Blue Moon, Bugonia, Marty Supreme, No Other Choice, Nouvelle Vague, One Battle After Another, and Best Motion Picture Animated for the Golden Globes this year is Arco, Demon Slayer, the movie Infinity Castle, Elo, K-pop Demon Hunter, Little Amelia and the and Zootopia 2. As you can know, I cannot pronounce words that I do not read beforehand. So, Michael, with the sort of understanding that this could change, and we're going to probably see 10 top movies at the Academy Awards, are you seeing any standouts right now? Or is, as always, are we both in the same category of what are these movies? Because I haven't heard of any of them.
I've heard of a few of them. I think you're going to see Begonia get there. It's Yorgos Lanthimos who just did Poor Things with Emma Stone as well. Emma Stone is in this one. It is a adaptation of a popular Korean film. Um, it is very interesting premise. Jesse Plemons, who is one of the finest actors, does not get the praise that he deserves. He's in it, and I think that we're going to see a lot of praise for him. I think it's going to be a big hitter. Wicked is obviously going to be very well
Are you
featured.
are you surprised that it was not nominated for best musical or comedy?
No,
Okay,
I knew that
because
was going to happen.
we're going to talk about that in 2 seconds. Let's talk about this because I think we have probably the same opinion on Wicked for good, or as I like to call it, Wicked. Oh my God, can it end? Because I feel like this is just a horrible, horrible movie. Continue.
About Wicked?
No, about the Golden Globes and where we see potentially what the Academy Awards is going to do. Because if this is the first time the Golden Globes has nominated movies, more than one, I should say, more than one movie that has been a foreign produced film not released on mainstream America. Now, I'm not sure if that was a conscious choice, but I think this is good. When the Golden Globes throws a ball and says, okay, we're going to mix it up, I think that's good. I know the Golden Globes has had some controversy over the last few years, but I think what we're seeing with the nominations for best feature film, best drama, best musical comedy, or best animated, I think we are going to see this happen and transpire into the Academy Awards. And I think
Oh,
that is going
absolutely.
to be good for movies.
No, I think that's going to happen as well. I think Sinners has a really good shot as well. A lot of the guy was getting a lot of praise. I didn't get to see it and I'm bummed because I wanted to see it. So I'm hoping to catch that sooner rather than later. I just I, I I've not a lot of the movies I saw this year and I was running to the theaters to see are not currently nominated, which is fine. I knew they weren't going to be nominated. I am a little curious. I'm actually a little shocked that Merrily We Roll Along did not get nominated, which is why I'm wondering if maybe that missed the cutoff. Because sometimes you really do see the pro shots make it into the Globes. Hamilton did when they released it, and it's doing we're in the box office for 2 weeks. Got it. I know what you're doing. That is the rule you need to have in specific venues, specific markets. You need 2 weeks in the theaters and at least one theater in order to qualify for the Oscars. So I think you're going to see that has a shut. That was phenomenal. And it has Dan Radcliffe, who is a beloved actor, and he did win the Tony. And after seeing this, I fully see why. Incredible. Um, but yeah, I think.
So
I
can
think
I?
Wicked is going to.
Okay, so before we go to Wicked, I have one final question before you.
Sure.
Now, we are recording this in the middle of December 2025. Now, the Academy Award nominations will be coming out probably in less than 1 month's time from recording this. So when this airs, probably about 2 to 3 weeks from the when the nominations will officially be released. Now, if you were a betting man, as we are on the show, who's your like top contender right now? If because we haven't seen most of these films, is there one that you're saying if I had to pick right now, this is the one that I would be putting my odds on favorite in December? Because traditionally, and this is where I want to just play in the sandbox for a little bit, the odds on favorite in December changes drastically by the time we actually get to voting season in February. Last year, everyone thought Amelia Perez was going to win. And then we saw what happened, and it basically went down, and Honora won. So, knowing that can change, is there one that you're looking at right now going, if I had to pick, this is the one I'm leaning towards right now? Because I have mine, and it's kind of a oddball one.
I ooh, I think Sinners could really
Okay.
pull it out. I think that it breaks the traditional like this is an indie film that nobody's seen. A lot of folks saw Sinners. It also is a little more horror leaning. It is a musical as well. It's an interesting concept that I think has a very clear path to winning. I also won't be surprised if once Wicked ends up on streaming on, I'm gonna assume New Year's Day because that's what they did last year. If that manages to pull it out, because everyone went, oh shoot, this movie is weaker, and we should have nominated gave the first one, but now we have to give it to this one because we should. I won't be surprised if that happens.
I wouldn't be surprised if that happened for the actress category, but that's just me as well. But
Same.
if there's one that I'm going to say, and it kind of comes down to two actually, and this is because I think we are seeing Hollywood still trying to take a stand against Donald Trump and what's going on with Donald Trump. So I think it's either going to become down to Blue Moon, or it's going
Okay.
to come down to one battle after another, which is the Martin Scorsese film that came out earlier this year in August. Now, if I was to say who's my odds on favorite, now I guarantee it's probably not going to get nominated. I think Blue Moon is probably the odds on favorite because I think it tells a different story and it has sort of what everyone's looking for, right? It's a gay movie, it's about fashion, it's about Hollywood in the 50s when everything was going backwards and the changes that the political pressures that we're on. So that's where I'm saying Blue Moon is my odds on sort of the dark horse of this race. But I will also say, I guarantee it right here, right now, K pop Demon Hunter will be nominated for a Best Picture award. And that does not surprise me. And I guarantee it, there will be some mention or some video AI version of a song played at this year's Oscars by the K-pop Demon Hunter crew.
No, that because there's actual the three women that did the voice acting for it. They've been performing as the girls in costume.
But they'll probably do it in AI because they'll be like, "Hey, look, we got the people who were the movie," and they were anyway. You're right because they were at the Macy Day Parade, but I can't see them not doing the a digital version of K-pop Demon Hunters. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
So this is where I'm going to challenge you.
Okay.
After we just had that massive strike in Hollywood specifically about AI and had the studios basically lose that fight, saying that they could use AI. I don't think we're going to see any AI. We might see a
But
digital like
not yeah,
pre-made thing.
well, that's what I mean. Digital. It will be a digital version of them singing their song at the Oscars. It won't be AI. And I apologize. I misused my words there. I did not mean artificial intelligence. I mean that we're going to see a digital version of the K-pop Demon Hunter crew at the award ceremony doing something. But it will be
Yeah.
nominated, and every tween gay girl will be excited as heck because it is the only thing my nieces will talk about with me. And yes, I have seen it more than once, and I am not a fan.
I haven't seen it. I don't know
Well,
anything about Miss K-pop and her Demon Hunters.
well, get ready to watch it because you'll probably have to see it at this year's Oscar
It's
watch
also
show.
going to probably win animated. I would be shocked if it didn't with the amount of boom that it's got going.
I think Zootopia 2 gives it a run for its money, but I think you're right. Anyway, let's talk about the last story. And we got about 15 minutes left before we have to wrap up. And it's the biggest movie that was supposed to be the biggest movie, and it became kind of not for good, but for duds, because I have seen more reactions about Wicket for Good being negative about the controversies that surround Wicket and the storytelling that Wicket for Good told. Now, I'm not a Broadway aficionado, but I listen to you. And I remember when you and I talked about this movie being produced back when it wasn't even out in theaters when they just announced it. And when you said it was going to be split into two, I think you so eloquently said part two is going to be a hot mess because
Correct.
in the second act of Wicked, it is a hot mess. They basically jam 15 minutes of what's going on into I think it's like 20-minute story, but it's supposed to take place over a few years. And from what I hear and from what I see, Wicked for Good fell flat. They should have just made it into one movie, in my opinion. What's your thoughts?
Agreed. I have not seen it yet because I know how Wicked is, and I movie theaters are expensive, and I know that they're going to drop it on streaming New Year's Day or Christmas Day, or that's what they did last year. And I'm like, I don't need to spend all this money to go see a movie that I know I'm not going to like. I loved part one. Part one, act one of Wicked is incredibly tight. It's incredibly well written, well crafted. Act two, you jump 20 years. We don't tell anybody you jump 20 years, so you don't know what's happened. And then they try and rush 20 years of what's happened in between into the first opening number of Act Two, which makes no logical sense. I'm hopeful that they're able to incorporate some of the book and make it not so jarring. But from what I've heard, no, that's what they do. It's jarring. It makes no sense. It's folks are confused and folks are like, I loved Wicked Part One so much. Why is Wicked Part Two is not a great story because the whole thing takes place over 24 hours. So the Wizard of Oz took place over 24 hours. That whole time she was in skipping down the Yellow Brick Road. And folks thought there would be more with Dorothy. There's not more with Dorothy. It's not her story. If you want to see Dorothy, go see The Wizard of Oz. Like it's just one of those. It's just not. There's the second act of the show is 45 minutes compared to the first act, which is 90 minutes. It it's just not as well crafted. I think that you're going to see a lot of buzz for Cynthia and Ariana. I bet you get that little one. Ethan Slater gets some nominations because I the clips I've seen, people are most shocked and impressed by him as an actor. Like,
Because he
correct.
has
I
to
don't know
hate
why I
his
was shocked.
girlfriend. He has to hate his girlfriend, Ariana Grande. And
Are they
God,
dating
oh,
though?
oh no, I don't know. But I will say that I didn't like it. I thought I didn't like the first movie. I really didn't like this one. And I can tell you,
Yeah,
it is like pulling teeth. And the two new musical numbers that they did, oh boy, they should not have
not
done
needed.
those. And Madame Marble, God bless the actress who plays her, but um maybe we don't get people who don't know how to sing to sing. It's like Meryl Streep singing in Mamma Mia. It's just not needed.
Listen, I've not seen Miss Michelle Yeoh. I loved her in the first one. Her acting is incredible.
Agreed.
Her on the red carpet, Madame Morrible, MM, flip it around, Wicked Witch, love. It's become a wonderful part of my daily vocabulary. Um, however, ma'am couldn't sing the two lines she had in the first movie, and I went, oh no, people are not ready for Act Two.
And they were
Um,
not. I can tell you all of the theater people that I follow on social media, the like the gay catty guys that I follow on social media, they were not having it and they were spilling the tea, as they would say in the gay culture. But anyway, I am cautious of time here, and I do want to ask one last question, and this is the big one. 2026, we are about to enter into it. What are you looking at when it comes to predictions? What is the industry going to shape into? And do you see any emerging stories that you'll be watching over the next 12 months?
Listen, we're gonna get a little hotbed for controversy. I'm curious what happens with Diddy, with this documentary that just came out. It is damning if it's to be believed, as it's all obviously alleged. Uh, it's I'm very curious what comes out of that. I think we're going to continue to see a lot of media just be safe and kind of minimal in terms of like taking risks. We're going to see a lot more. I think The Mummy is returning with the original cast. Like a lot of stuff that people are going, "Ooh, I'm excited for that," because of nostalgia reasons. And then when they go in, they're going to come out and go, "That wasn't as good as the previous installments," because there's a lot of how can we make some money to keep ourselves sustaining. I do think that there's like a weird anti-streaming push from the studios to try and get folks back to the cinemas. I do think you are going to continue to maybe see people go back because of the nostalgia and because of like, oh my God, I want to see the Mummy on the big screen. And now what they're doing is come watch the first four mummies and then you can see the new one all in one day. You're going to see a lot of that type of stuff, I think, pop up. You just saw it with Wicked. You could watch the first one and then go watch the second one the week before it opened or the week of the open because they had for Prime members special early access. I think you see some of that pop up with Amazon Prime going, hey, you can go and see our movie a week early that you're really excited about, but you have to buy a ticket through us. So I think you're going to see some of that. I just, I am not, I'm not thinking we're going to see a lot of things that are going to make us stop and go, wow, that, like, I cut back to Three Billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri, because that movie just stuck with me. It was profound. It was incredible. I don't think you're going to see a lot of things like that occurring, like really deep, really impactful, powerful films that make it kind of to the zeitgeist of the modern society.
Plus, and this is the thing that I'm going to be watching for as well. 2025 is sort of at the end of the sort of the writer strike, right? We are
Yeah.
nearing the end. So this is the time when most movies that were written during would have been written during the writer strike would have been airing. So you're seeing less and less sort of new things come out. So if this trend continues and we don't see any new ideas like you say where they're sort of stopping people in its tracks, then yes, I will say 2026, that is the story I'm going to be watching. Are people going to go back because they want to see new movies? We're already seeing it play out in real time. Avengers Endgame, the movie that came out 5 years ago, is coming back into theaters because it has an opening and the theaters can take it before the Avengers Doomsday comes out. So there's
Yep.
a lot of movies that are going to be coming out re-release. We see a new sequel of The Mummy coming out. We see the new Rush Hour 4 come out because Donald Trump really wants to see Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker on the big screen again. So these are the movies that we're going to see. And I'm hoping that the writers of Hollywood are serious in their craft and want to tell original stories and not just reinvent the wheel over and over again. Because if I have to watch another Superman movie, another comic book movie with the exact same plot storyline but with different characters, I will be upset and I will be screaming at the top of my lungs at the end of 2026. And this is the big one, and this is what I'm going to say a little bit as well. Can we stop with the idea that streaming is going away? It's not. There's a large portion of this population who will not go see movies in theaters because A, it costs too much, and B, they like the privacy of their home. I am one of them. I like to sit on my couch and not listen to people that is not my husband or my dogs chew on their bone. That is not my husband. He chews on the popcorn. Or who snores. That is my husband and my dogs. So yes, I will watch a movie at home rather than seeing it in theaters because I can pause things and I can go to the washroom and I can do things that I want to do. And I don't have to sit there for 2.5 hours trying to be entertained by a movie that I might just not be happy with. And until the movie theaters and the movie companies start producing movies I want to sit through and not be distracted by, I'm going to stay at home and watch them on the streaming services. Because if I am bored in your movie and I've paid $40, I am going to be pissed. There is my rant for the day. There's my last rant of 2025. That is not true. I will probably rant a few more times over the next few years, but continue on. Before the last word to you before we wrap up.
Over the next few years, we're going to get off this and you're going to have a rant ready for me.
What?
Um, no, love you. I think honestly, the way that you get more, and this I say this all the time, the way that you show, cinemas, Broadway, artists, etc., that you want new and original content, not rehashes of franchises, not adaptations from one media to the other. The way that you show the studios and the executives and the producers making this decision is to take chances on new works that you don't know. And even if it's through streaming, even if it's online, like you have to, like, if you see something that looks interesting, that you're like, wow, that looks really interesting and unique, try and find a way to set that time aside so that you can watch it. Because the number of folks I've heard, specifically Broadway, go that live in New York City, that there's 800 ways that you can walk into a show with a like $7 ticket, not $7, but like a very affordable ticket, 20, 30, $40. Half the tickets I paid for this week were $40. One of them, it was buy one $40 ticket, get the other one free. Like if you want to see interesting and unique things that you are like, don't wait. Go and say, show with your money, like, I want to see this. Because like when they see that, Top Gun's making money, The Mummy's making money, uh, uh, things like that are making money, they're going to go, oh, people don't want new and original things. They want this. A really great, we say it all the time, A24 is a little tiny indie company that is putting out incredible original. So in terms of some of the original stuff I've seen, incredible.
This year was a hit and miss for A24, but we'll talk about that
Okay.
in February.
It's just
I
one of
do want to
those.
just pick up on one thing that you just mentioned. I know I
Sure.
said this is the big thing that I think that movie studios need to do, and even just in general, even TV shows. We got to stop thinking of the star of the movie as being the actor in 2026. That is not the case. The star of the movie is the IP, is the
Yeah.
intellectual property, that is the story. I will never see, and this I could be wrong, and I shouldn't say I will never see, but I'm not like I don't know what Cynthia Revo is going to be in next. I do not know what Ariana Grande is going to be in next. But I'm not going to go see a movie just for the sake of, okay, you do because you're crazy like that and you're weird. Okay. I'm not. I'm the normal one out of the two of us. I'm not going to go see a movie just for the sake of seeing it because of Ariana Grande. I'm not going to go see a movie just because of Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I'm not going to go see the movie because of X, Y, or Z actor. I'm going to go see a movie. Hey, it's an Avengers movie. Okay, I might go see that. I'm going to go see a Jumanji movie. Okay, because I'm going to go see that. I'm going to go see Wicked because it's a musical. I'm going to go see that. I'm not going to see Wicked because Ariana Grande's in it. I'm going to go see Wicked because Wicked. Like, movie
Yeah.
theaters have to stop thinking that we need A-list actors and A-list actors and actresses to do these shows anymore because most people are not caring who's in a movie. They just want the best actor, and sometimes that is not the people that we're casting. And as we saw in Wicked for Good, sometimes you miss the mark when it comes to casting your celebrities there, John Woo.
Uh, I agree and I disagree. I think that like people are going to see movies because of celebrities. There are people who went and saw Wicked knowing nothing about it because they knew Ariana Grande and they were excited to see her in a movie. Like you and I aren't necessarily doing that. You and I are looking at the story, but
I
there
would
is
say
a
the majority of people are.
large,
I would disagree with that. I would disagree with
or
that.
it's the IP. They know the IP, so they know Top Gun.
Yep.
So they want, and they don't want to see someone new in Top Gun. They want to see Tom Cruise. That's why The Mummy, they had a before this one, the last Mummy had none of the original cast, and it tanked not because they went, oh, we want Tom. No, we want Brendan Fraser. We want Rachel Weisz. Like we don't want. And so there's that too. So as we're doing franchises, we're gonna truck out folks who have retired from film or have not been doing as much or just they're coming back to this franchise and it's going to make a ton. The Mummy is going to make so much money whether it's good or bad. And it's not trying to win an award. It doesn't care about the awards. It's there because they wanted to make the movie and there was enough people that want it. Like, I am very excited for this new Mummy. I am. I'm very excited. I love the originals. Like the fact that it's still pretty much the entire cast back, incredible. But like, at
Even
what
Rachel
point then?
Wise, because she wasn't in for the third one, right?
No.
But we
Well,
won't
I don't
mention.
think it was the one with Tom Cruise.
No, they did
Was
three
there? Is this the
movies.
fifth one?
They did three movies with Brendan Fraser. Actually, it's the ninth one because the Mummy had the spinoff of the Scorpion King, which had three movies of itself. So this is the fourth movie of the Brendan Fraser Mummy, but this is the
Perfect.
third movie of the Rachel Wise being in the Mummy because the Mummy, the Tomb of the Dragon Soldier, the Dragon King one, I forget the official name of it.
Yeah.
Rachel Wise didn't want to come back for the third one, so they recast her. And that was the first time that people were like, "Hey, we're going to recast someone, and we're going to mention it at the very top of the moment," where she was reading a book and she was like, "Oh, and the actress who was there was so good in the movie, and now someone else, and you're supposed to expect it the same." Anyway, you're right.
Yeah, we're in the world of franchise right now. That's
Amen
what
to
we're
that.
in.
2025, the year of the franchise. 2026, the year the franchises come back. With that, Michael, always a pleasure to sit down with you and talk about the entertainment industry, as only two people who aren't the people you were thinking of only can. Until 2026, I look forward to our continued conversations, and I look forward to finally beating you at this year's No, that's entertainment with No Not Them fifth annual Oscar Awards Palooza. That was a horrible name for something.
What's
So without
wild?
so without further ado, thanks so much for doing this. As always.
Bye.